for artistic freedom, freedom of art.
The Academy announces its shortlist of 15 movies for Best International Feature on Tuesday. Even if his film is not on it, director Amjad Abulala feels he's won. Neda Ulabi, NPR News.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Sasha Pfeiffer.
And I'm Rachel Martin.
And I'm David First. The Marketplace Morning Report is next here on WNYC, and later on Morning Edition, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says holding another impeachment trial for President Trump is a bad idea. He appeared on CBS yesterday.
We've never impeached a president once they're out of office. 45 plus Republicans are going to vote early on that it's unconstitutional.
More on how the GOP is handling this second impeachment and the culture of accountability. That's coming up in about 15 minutes here on WNYC. 18 degrees at the moment, partly sunny today. We're expecting a high near 30 degrees.
Support for WNYC comes from Amazon Studios, presenting Sound of Metal. Riz Ahmed stars as a drummer who is challenged to accept his new world of silence after he abruptly loses his hearing. Awards eligible, available on Prime Video. WNYC acknowledges the support of our sponsors in the arts community. As the cultural life of our city adapts to extraordinary times, WNYC's work delivering news and cultural coverage to our community and the nation is more important than ever. Thank you.
On the next Brian Lehrer Show, Emily Bazelon from the New York Times Magazine and Yale Law School previews the impeachment trial of Donald Trump on the charge of incitement to riot. Would he get convicted in a court of law? And with big tech deplatforming the president to prevent more incitement, she'll discuss her argument that free speech is broken in this country, but not in the way Trump supporters think. The Brian Lehrer Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on WNYC.
If there's ever an Apple car, it's not going to be a Hyundai in disguise.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance, comparing car insurance rates from multiple insurers so shoppers can evaluate options in one place. Now that's Progressive. Comparisons available at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. And by C3.ai. C3.ai software enables organizations to use artificial intelligence at enterprise scale, solving previously unsolvable business problems. Learn more at C3.ai.
I'm David Brancaccio. If Apple and Hyundai ever were in serious talks to make a car together, they are not now. Hyundai made that clear today, and its stock fell more than 6%. Marketplace's Nova Safo joins us.
Well, what shall we say, David? The Apple car hit a bump in the road. Apple put the brakes on its Hyundai tie-up. The stuff writes itself, but here's what we know. It's been about a month since Hyundai initially spilled the beans that it's talking with Apple about a partnership to make a car. Then this morning, Hyundai said it's not in talks with Apple to develop autonomous vehicles. Now that's it. That's pretty much all the details it gave. Investors are interpreting that statement as talks are off completely. Stocks slid for both Hyundai and its subsidiary Kia, which was reportedly poised to make the Apple car.
Now, is that what an Apple car is supposed to be, drives itself?
Well, Apple has said very little about any of this. It reportedly wants to put a car on the market with its technology in it by as early as 2024. Now, that could be autonomous technology or battery technology or both. The other part of this is how Apple wants to enter the car market. With these talks with Hyundai, it appears it wants to partner similar to its iPhone partnership with electronics manufacturer Foxconn. Apple designs and sells iPhones. Foxconn actually makes them. It seems that's what Apple wants to do with the car, too.
All right, Nova, thank you. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all up in the 0.4% range now. Crude oil higher and higher, up 1.3%, $57.58 a barrel, the highest since December of 2019. Companies at work and at play. Hasbro's quarterly results come today. Mattel is tomorrow. With pandemic delaying some big movie releases, the toy companies feel it. Here's Marketplace's Samantha Fields.
Big new movie releases often mean new licensed toys. Steve Passerb of the Toy Association says in recent years, that's made up a good chunk of sales for the toy industry.
This year, it was either flat to slightly declining because of the lack of large theatrical releases.
Passerb says there were some licensed toys connected to legacy franchises like Star Wars that sold well in 2020.
Like The Mandalorian in streaming, it did extremely well and generated The Child, which was a hot-selling toy.
And overall, 2020 was a strong year for the toy industry. Sales were up 16%, according to NPD Group.
Despite the lack of entertainment calendar that we've usually had.
Jamie Katz is an analyst at Morningstar, and she says that's because people bought plenty of other kinds of toys.
Fashion dolls have done really well this year. The sports toys category has done fairly well.
With so much less money going toward travel and eating out, she says many parents had a lot more to spend on toys. I'm Samantha Fields for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Avalara. Avalara has been working to take human error out of the tax compliance process using cloud-based real-time rate calculation and automatic return filing. Avalara, tax compliance done right. AVALARA.com. And by Merrill. Merrill Guided Investing helps manage a client's portfolio. MerrillEdge.com/investing goals. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. And by Destination Medical Center, located in Rochester, Minnesota, a public-private economic development initiative offering an inspiring hub for innovation. More at dmc.mn.
President Biden's focus on combating climate change means the U.S. is back in the Paris Climate Agreement. But what next, if anything, for coal? Marketplace's Andy Euler reports.
The U.S. coal industry isn't likely to prosper under the Biden administration, but it wasn't exactly gangbusters under the previous one either, despite all those promises.
There's a real gap, I think, between rhetoric and reality in the coal industry.
Clark Williams-Derry is an energy analyst at the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis.
The rhetoric was that the administration was going to be helping the coal industry. The reality was that by pursuing what you might call an all-of-the-above energy strategy, particularly one focused on oil and gas, that actually hurt the coal industry.
In the last few years, the industry's decline continued, with power generation from coal dropping significantly. Williams-Derry says many utilities switched from producing electricity with coal to doing it with natural gas because, thanks to fracking, gas has become dirt cheap and readily available.
Coal had built its reputation as the cheap way to generate power. And over the course of the past, let's say, 8 to 12 years, it has become the most expensive way to generate power.
On top of natural gas, the price of wind and solar power continues to drop. Alex Wong teaches environmental law at UCLA.
So that dynamic has made it so that the price now, it becomes a no-brainer where you actually save money if you build renewables.
It's terrible news for coal because, according to the Energy Information Administration, power generation accounts for more than 92% of U.S. coal demand. But Betsy Monsu, CEO of the American Coal Council, warns of skyrocketing energy prices, like what happened last summer in California during a heat wave, if the Biden administration tosses coal by the wayside.
It's important to fuel diversity, and fuel diversity is important to competitive energy markets.
While the coal industry isn't counting on favorable policy from the Biden administration, it's just hoping to at least remain part of the conversation. But Clark Williams-Derry says coal's fundamental problems are technological rather than political.
The reality is that the marketplace is attacking coal. Coal, as essentially a 19th century technology, is now competing in a 21st century world that's very different.
President Biden has said that coal workers would not be forgotten, that his administration would help the industry transition from the mines to new jobs, whether those jobs are in a completely different industry or cleaning up the hundreds of abandoned coal mines across the country. I'm Andy Euler for Marketplace.
And there are many cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin only the biggest brand. One of the lesser knowns, Dogecoin, is up 28% in the last 24 hours, 100% in a week, in part because the influencers in chief have been tweeting about it. Elon Musk of Tesla, SpaceX, and flamethrower fame, and Snoop Dogg, who called himself Snoop Doge over the weekend. I'm David Brancaccio, Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.
WNYC is supported by the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, dedicated to promoting informed and engaged communities and committed to helping